Hey guys, welcome back to the channel, and today we're going to be talking about Mage Tower once again, and it's going to be about Guardian Druid. Now, I know a lot of people want to do Guardian Druid for this form, and honestly, it looks epic. It was kind of a challenge, in my opinion, one of the hardest ones I've had to do so far, but I think it was really worth it, and I'll try to walk you through as best as I can. So let's get started. What are you going to need to do this challenge? First of all, get used to the spec. I personally played almost every single spec in the game before, but Guardian Druid is one of those that actually I have just almost never played. I might have played it a few dungeons or whatever, and it was probably while leveling, but I've never played the spec, so I had no idea what I was doing at the start. So, first thing, let's talk about talents and why we're using those talents. Okay, so first row, Brambles. Basically, you use this because when you use Barkskin, it's gonna do a bunch of damage for every enemy that hits you. So, extra damage on your defensive against Kruul, which is a race against time because you want to kill him as fast as possible so you don't get one-shotted by one of his annihilations, which you'll see later on in the video if you watch the whole video. It's just extra damage, and honestly, you need that extra damage. Like, it is actually 6.5% of your damage, and that's just a talent. That is actually insane. That is such a big talent. Anyway, moving on to the next. Wild Charge. Honestly, you could go Renewal as well, but Wild Charge is just so nice to have with the knockbacks from the Infernals. The knockbacks are a pain. This is what makes the challenge annoying, because if you get knocked back and you fall down and you die, and you're just about to kill Krull, you're gonna hate yourself, and that's just the suffering of this challenge. So Wild Charge, really useful, especially when you're in Moonkin form in first phase because you want to do some damage, or you're in Guardian form on the second phase and you just don't want to get heated off, and you might have already used your Goblin Glider and all that. Third row, Balance Affinity. Well, Balance Affinity is just for the damage. Honestly, it is just for the damage on first phase. So in first phase, what you're actually going to want to do is go in Balance Affinity, so in Moonkin form, and from there, you're going to activate your Art of the Wild instantly, and you're just going to be pumping as much damage onto the first mini boss as you can. Usually, I get him to roughly 50% by the time my Heart of the Wild ends, so in 45 seconds, roughly. Now, I've seen some other people get him to 30 and 40%, but honestly, 50% did fine for me. I had no problem with that whatsoever. And quick tip, when he does his first drain life, which you'll see if you do the fights a few times, just knock him back with Typhoon, which you get from Balance Affinity. So, same reason as to why we chose Heart of the Wild, just for the first phase to go faster so you have less Inferno on the second phase. Next, Galactic Guardian. Now, these three choices seem like they're decent. Galactic Guardian is the one that deals damage, so you go for that one. Like, you don't need more survivability, you need damage. Because survivability that lasts for 30 seconds is not gonna last long enough for you to be able to kill Krull. So Galactic Guardian by far is the best. It does more damage, it does constant damage, and if you look at the meters, Moonfire is the second on my meter, therefore it is an insane talent. Next, Survival of the Fittest, because Brambles. Yes, you heard that. So, Survival of the Fittest. Reduce cooldown of Barkskin and Survival Instinct by 33%. Not only do you get Survival Instincts more, which honestly is not the reason you take this talent, because you only use Survival of the Fittest like twice in this fight, and that's for the second and the third annihilation of Krull. But Barkskin, you basically use that on cooldown for damage. So, having it more, so basically instead of having it every minute, you have it every 40 seconds, means you're going to be just having overall better defensive, but also more damage from Brambles, which is just a nice addition. And lastly, Rend and Tear. Basically just reduces the damage you take and increases the damage you deal to Krull, as well as the Lance, which is going to be nice. So that's it for talents. Now, the next thing I'm going to recommend is a few tips when it comes to gear. Now, honestly, I try to do it without the gear, but I recommend using Necklace for Heart of Azeroth. The Cloak is always nice. And thanks to a buddy of mine, something I've noticed as well is the Benefit gear or any gear that is Azurite gear that's above eye level 50 gives you a lot more main stats. And honestly, I didn't think it would make such a difference, but it really did. Like, it changed everything for me. It was actually insane. And last one I'm gonna recommend, these two trinkets. Ghost Iron Dragonling, that's up to you. It wasn't that big for me, but Ravage Seed Pod, insane trinket. Now, how do you get this trinket and what does it do? Well, I'll show you that in exactly 15 seconds. But basically, the reason why this trinket is actually mad is because it does AoE damage, and if you can see on my meters, it is actually doing more damage than some of my brambles. And it's like 77% of my damage, which is just insane. It's just a lot of damage. Now, against Kruul, it's an extra 2% damage. It's nice. There's probably better trinkets out there, but for the little lads, that's a different story. That really helps, especially when you have Kruul, does Annihilation, you have the lads on you, increases the damage you take. It's not nice. So having that trinket to do extra damage to both Kruul and the ads and just take them out really quickly is insane. So, as you can see, what it does, puts a pull-down. The ads walk in, after 4 ticks they die. Simple as. You don't even need to damage the ads, they just die. They just die in the pool, right there. So that's actually really insane. Outside of that, you can probably get a lot better gear than I had. But with this, I can guarantee that it is possible. And if we watch the damage taken meters, and we watch Kruul over here, he did 3 annihilates on me, and I killed him roughly 10 seconds before I was going to die to the 4th. So, damage-wise, wasn't a problem. Honestly, just getting used to the fight will really help you. And how to get this trinket? Quite simple. This trinket drops from Legion and drops from the Emerald Nightmare. Just go in there, massacre first boss, loot, and then switch difficulty if you don't loot until you get it. Simple as. Really easy, and will actually help you a lot. So, what else is there to talk about with this fight? This fight is one of those that you just need some repetition. It's not as progressive as the healer one, where the healer one, the first phase, you just learn the fight, and once you've learned the first phase, usually you don't wipe again on the first phase unless you mess up. On this one, there's some RNG related as well, which can make it really frustrating. So my advice to you is don't take it too hard, and just try to focus on what's important, the mechanics. Infernos might be in a different position, they might knock you off. It's annoying, it is what it is, but really focus on the subject at hand, which is basically kill Kruul. Maximize your damage and press your defensives when you need to, as well as kicking him, because that to me, surprisingly enough, was the hardest part, was not forgetting to kick while I was thinking, he's going to do Annihilate, I need to get my stacks of Iron Fur, I need to get my Survival Instincts up, I need to get my Bark Skin for damage, and all that, since I don't play the class. Anyway, with that said, I hope you enjoyed the video. We'll see you in the next one, guys. See ya, enjoy.